my phone was at 1% battery.
Oh no.
So and Ashley called me and she said, "Hi Joshua, is this a good time to talk?" I think that's what you said. And,
something along those lines.
And I was like, I'm at lunch and my phone's at 1%. Can I just call you back later? And she's like, yeah, of course. And I hung up and then I was eating and it kind of clicked. I was like, wait, did I win? I was like, okay, I need to go get a charger. So I went around asking. I was like, do you guys have a charger? Like people I don't even know. Because I was like, I might have won the scholarship.
I remember you saying, hey, I'm at lunch. Can I call you back later? And then it wasn't later. It was minutes. And I said, are you still at lunch? And he said, yeah, but I wanted to call you back. And then I was like, well, great. Now you get to go celebrate at lunch.
Welcome to the Bravo Lima Podcast. Skies are clear. Comms are open. This is episode 5.
5. Andy, is that you?
Yes.
We're back.
She's so weird.
Is this real? Is this the Bravo Lima Podcast?
I know.
It's just been a while since we recorded, and I'm not exaggerating. I think I've messaged you maybe at least 5 times where people have been like, when are you going to come back? When are you guys going to record again? And so I think it's time that we fill you in on everything that has happened in the past 10 months. It's been a lot.
Yeah, so before we actually even get into talking to Josh, which is the recipient of the Fly Art Scholarship, the whole point of this video, we do want to go ahead and recap you about everything that's been going on for us. So
at Blue Line in 2023, since you last heard from us, there have been a lot of changes. Number one, the reason you haven't heard from us lately is because, well, I moved to Florida. Mm-hmm. I'm sure a lot of you are following along on Blue Line's social media, but Blue Line Aviation opened our second location in Winter Haven, Florida at the Winter Haven Regional Airport. And myself and a lot of others from the North Carolina office moved down to open it and run it. And it's going great. It's sunny and warm.
But she left me, so I'm here in North Carolina. And the podcast studio is here in North Carolina. So It's made it difficult filming this while we're establishing a whole new location. Which has been going great. So.
And once we started getting established and everything was, going well, then the holidays came. And, it was really hard for me to get up here. And it was, I think we canceled podcasts like 4 or 5 times because
easily, yeah.
it just didn't work out. So here I am today and I'm happy to be back. I know you guys are going to miss Goose, but maybe he'll make a cameo, but we have someone else.
We do have Arlo. So Arlo is my dog. That's the new thing. Let's see if I can get him over here. Arlo, come here, bud. They need to see you, dude.
So Arlo is our new dog on the podcast.
This is Arlo. Look at him. So he's going to be our new podcast cameo dog thing until Ash can bring Goose up here for one of our podcast episodes. Mm-hmm. So he's going to be fun. He walks around the studio and wrecks things because he doesn't realize his own surroundings, I guess. But... and then let's see, what else was there? So
we opened our second location in Winter Haven, Florida, and we are doing the career pilot program there as well. So now we have 2 locations. We received our first Piper Archer, and now we have 4.
Yeah.
So we received our first Piper Archer, and our Pipers are only in Florida. So fun fact, if you come to Florida, you could fly a Diamond or you could fly a Piper. In Johnston County, North Carolina, you'll fly Diamonds for now. Mm-hmm. And what else happened?
So I wanted to go ahead and go over the stats for last year, too.
Because they are impressive.
So in 2023, we had 1,238 Checkride passes, which is 109% more than what we did in 2022. And then it gets even crazier because in graduates, we had 143 graduates last year, and that was 117% more than 2022.
Again, I say, mind-blowing. These numbers are literally mind-blowing.
It is crazy.
In 2023, we had 20,830 flights flown, which was up 77% from 2022. And in flight hours, we flew 40,432 flight hours, up 83% from 2022.
We have our planes working around the clock constantly. Thank God for our maintainers, because those guys keep up with our stuff like constantly. So there's a reason why
they're doing 100-hour almost every other day because they're flying so much.
But they're really well versed for it. So if you own a Diamond aircraft and you need a 100-hour,
those numbers are so impressive. Every year since I've worked here for 5 years, we've said it was our biggest year yet, in the biggest ways possible. Yeah. Every year, I think there's no way we're gonna outdo it, and we're already on track to outdo last year already. So I'm just mind blown at everything that we have done and continue to do. I'm grateful for our team. I'm grateful for our instructors, our students, our everybody on our team, because it's not possible without every single person on our team. And I'm also grateful for Florida because I love it there.
Another thing I want to point out, one of the more exciting parts of our years is when we get to attend air shows. So the two more exciting air shows that we attend every year is Oshkosh and Sun and Fun. And Oshkosh, last year we had our own booth. And
again, our biggest year yet.
And that was crazy.
We'll show you some pictures here on the video of what our booth looked like. But
it was really cool. And then even more fun was Sun and Fun, because at Sun and Fun we partnered with Piper. So we were at Piper's booth for Sun and Fun. And that's where we unveiled technically our first airplane and our first Piper Archer.
Oh my gosh, last year was so much fun. I'm not being dramatic. Last year, about this time of year, when we decided we were going to partner with Piper to diversify our fleet, we met up with their marketing team and came up with this secretive campaign to start teasing who the new Flight School Alliance was with Piper. So Piper started posting these cryptic pictures with and you can go back and look at it, and maybe we'll show it on the video too, but they started posting these cryptic pictures that, they're like, who's going to be the next member of the Flight School Alliance? And then we started posting videos, reels and videos of things you would have to really, it reminds me of Taylor Swift. She does that stuff with her albums. Like, when is she going to release Reputation Taylor's version? You don't know.
She brings up Taylor Swift.
But I'm serious, that's what it reminds me of, though. These little Easter eggs we were dropping, and you had to pay attention to one of the reels that Andy made was, you know what? Actually, I'm just reliving it with you guys right now, because we actually released in the same day Piper and the fact that we were expanding to Florida.
That was the point. So each reel that we were posting, I made it where it was a teaser of both that it was a new location, because we hadn't talked about that yet, and that we were partnering with Piper.
Yes.
So a good example of one of the videos was a video of an alligator that was walking on the edge of a beach. So you can clearly tell that you're in Florida. And then I took a silhouette of a Piper Archer and had it fly over, and all you could see was its shadow. And some people got it, and some people couldn't figure it out, and they couldn't what was going on. But
I never would have gotten it if I wouldn't have known.
So we did that one.
There was the one that
it just flashed.
It flashed the. It didn't. It said GIF, but for the most millisecond of milliseconds.
It was really quick.
You would never be able to see it. And
Piper's logo was enlarged in the background, so it was really difficult to tell what it was.
And you put the runway formations from GIF on there as well. So anyways, we'll show this on here because it was a lot of thought went into it. It was actually probably the most fun I had last year. That sounds so lame. But it was so cool, because then it really, all the people that got involved with, and people guessed. People figured it out. And some people didn't. And then, of course, we announced the same day, the first day of Sun and Fun, we announced that we were expanding to Florida at Winter Haven, and that we were also partnering with Piper, who happens to be a Florida-based company.
Yeah.
So it was really cool to see it come full circle. And then we got our first delivery of our first Piper in August of 2023. And now the fleet keeps growing. And, now we're in full swing at GIF in Winter Haven and loving it there. And obviously still in full swing here in Johnston and continuing to, we now need to expand some more, it looks like.
Yeah, right. And then obviously, we can segue this perfectly into 2023 being the first year that we did the Fly Right Scholarship.
Yes.
And you're about to meet the first recipient of that scholarship.
The Fly Right Scholarship, was something we introduced in late 2022, early 2023 for a public school graduate of the county that we're in. So it was, in 2023, it was for Johnston County, North Carolina public school graduate. And in 2024, we just announced that now we're going to expand it to where we are in Florida, so Polk County public school graduates as well. And
we break that down more. In this podcast, when you see this episode, Ashley actually breaks down the purpose of the Fly Right Scholarship, what it's for, who can apply for it, and we even go over the application process with Joshua. So
that was exciting too, to announce that, get all the applications and have our first review board, and then have the first person chosen. And we did a ceremony for him here in May in Johnston County. And it just, so many exciting things happened last year. It was such a great year. I don't understand how we're going to top it, but we are. I mean, we have every single year for 5 years. I don't know how we're going to do it, but we are. I don't doubt it. I mean, Sun and Fun this year is going to be even bigger than last year, because I live there now.
Yeah.
We live there. It's such a short, so much planning goes into these air shows, and it's 20-minute flight for us now.
Yeah.
Maybe not even that. And it's I just can't stop smiling because it was such a good year. So many emotions, so many happy tears last year, but it couldn't have gotten better.
Well, I think the only best thing to do before we wrap Josh into this conversation is what you can expect is hopefully our next episode where we're thinking we're going to be able to lock down Trey Walters, the
CEO of Blue Line Aviation.
Yeah, and we're going to go over everything from the past to the present to the future of Blue Line Aviation. So you can look forward to that podcast. But that being said, let's go ahead and transition into talking about Josh and him being the recipient of the Fly Right Scholarship.
Let's do it.
So I'm actually really happy that we're finally bringing this podcast back. Hopefully we can make it a regular, as we were trying to last year. But I'm really excited that we could bring it back with a bang using the Fly Right Scholarship, $100,000 Fly Right Scholarship. During this podcast, it was nice to hear not only how he applied for it, but what his experience was like going through that application, what it was like winning it. And then we talked about his solo, which Ashley just keeps teasing throughout the whole podcast. We're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about it. And eventually, we promise we talk about it.
And then we get to where he is now and where he wants to go in the future.
Yeah.
And I think it's really, really cool that we are going to be able to share this with the applicants for 2024 year of the Fly Right Scholarship in both locations. And that he will be able, he even provides advice on what to do and what not to do on your application.
Yeah, so that being said, we can go ahead and let's bring Josh on.
Hey, Josh, thanks for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. I am so excited that we have the very first Fly Right Scholarship winner on our podcast today.
Yeah, and we're going to go in depth talking about that, about what the Fly Right Scholarship is and what it actually means to be a recipient of it. But that being said, this is the first podcast you've ever been on, right?
Yep.
Okay.
How you feeling?
Are you feeling nervous?
Maybe just a little bit. I mean, I remember watching this before I even knew I was going to Blue Line.
Oh.
And it's like,
Okay, we're going to get into this later, but are you feeling more nervous or less nervous than when you did your first solo yesterday?
honestly, I think I was more excited than nervous for the solo.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Good.
Yeah, for sure.
That's good. That's a good feeling. So you're more nervous about being here. Good.
I feel like I don't remember. Do you remember your first solo? I don't.
Yeah, of course. I screamed when I got in the air because I was like, this is amazing.
Oh,
it's so
I thought it
freeing,
was like
right?
out of fear.
No, I was like, I cannot believe somebody's not with me.
Oh, yeah.
It's just a different feeling. Again, we'll go into it later. So why don't we just start off by, why don't you just tell us about who you are and, you know, where you grew up and just all about you.
All right. Well, I'm Joshua, as you guys know. I lived in Clayton, North Carolina, whole life, 18 years. So, and I went to school in Smithfield, so I'd always drive past JNX on 70 every time I go to school. And I remember when Blue Line wasn't even there. I'd see the occasional planes come in, and you know, it'd be awesome.
Yeah.
And I always knew I wanted to be into aviation. I always had the toy planes. I'd walk around the house flying the toy planes around. I went to air shows all the time, and then when I got a little bit older, RC planes, like 24/7. And then I remember when I was in, I think it was either middle school or like early high school, and Blue Line came to JNX. You know, you'd see every single time you come by, there's a plane landing or taking off, and it's like I'd always say, you know, that's gonna be me one day.
Aww.
And he's doing affirmations.
That actually made me tear up a little bit, Josh.
But the thing is, I had no idea those were Blue Line's planes. I had no idea.
You just thought that's going to be me.
Yeah, like that's what I was saying, like just in general. But now here I am actually in the plane taking off and landing over 70.
He couldn't recognize our planes. Maybe we should actually
to be clear,
rebrand
no,
our
no,
planes.
no. To be clear,
Make them vibrant blue.
To be clear, what Josh was talking about is like 2012, 2013, when we owned planes that weren't branded. So he probably didn't know they were ours.
Oh.
Yes. See.
That makes sense.
He said when he was in middle school, that was not yesterday. So
Well, you're so young. So so you've been seeing our planes around here. Well, you saw them in 2012, 2013, because that's when we were initially based here, right?
I think so.
Because I know that Blue Line was here at some point in JNX.
Yeah.
So at some point, I assume, more recent years, so when we got here in 2021, did you start seeing our planes a lot more after that time period?
Exactly.
And then you knew who the planes were because you could see the branding because it's so good.
Marketing. I had nothing to do with that, though.
Do a little ding. Thanks.
You had brought up earlier about how you used to play with toy planes and stuff like that or whatnot. I had this really weird story that when my mom my mom came home one day when I was young, and when she walked into the house, all she saw was a paper airplane on fire flying down the hallway. Because in my head, you know how like when you look at the back of a fighter jet, right, fire is coming out the back, right, if you want to say so. And so in my head, I was like, well, maybe I can make my paper airplane go faster. And I lit the back of it on fire and was throwing it. And smoke alarms were going off. Firefighters showed up. It was a whole thing.
Firefighters show up?
Because my mom called the firefighters because she didn't know.
So first she didn't have a car and had to walk home. And then second...
she didn't have to walk home.
Second, she came home and your house is almost on fire because of that?
Yeah.
Yikes.
Yep. Yeah. So
that's
fun
really
story.
Cool.
And then I became a real pilot. So
look at you.
I know.
And you're so close. So do your parents, do they remember you growing up saying, that's going to be me and playing with toy planes and everything?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. We had career day in 2nd grade, and I dressed up as a pilot. I had my little suit and little tie. And there's a picture of me. I actually put it in my scholarship essay. So
I remember
it's
that.
floating around somewhere, yeah.
It's a picture?
Yeah, we'll put that on.
Oh.
We'll put that on. I'll provide it. I have it.
For sure. We're definitely going to do a post-graduation video with you. So.
Yeah. Like, again, David, zing. I'm just kidding. I really will provide the picture for you, though.
Oh, that's
yeah, that's really cool. I remember seeing that in your application. So.
Okay, I'm curious. So you want to fly, you want to become a pilot and everything, right? Obviously, because you're in flight school. So what do you think about airports?
International airports?
Yeah,
or
like Raleigh, RDU type stuff.
As a passenger?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's definitely confusing, and because I went across the country. Me and my family went across the country.
To where?
We all over. We went. It was they have an RV, so
oh, cool.
We went. I kind of flew out to meet them, and on my way back home, I got stuck in Denver for I think it was 15 hours.
Ooh.
15 hours in Denver.
Yeah, and weirdly enough, Denver being the largest airport, I think in the United States, unless it's Atlanta. What is it? Atlanta, Hartsfield?
Atlanta, Hartsfield Jackson International Airport. D is for David, not Delta.
I think Denver is the largest one, but it's still very boring. Like
Atlanta has the most passengers going through.
Yeah,
and I think the most flights also.
Yeah, but Denver's freaking huge.
Yeah.
So
wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, and
what did you do?
The thing is because it was always like it'd get canceled an hour and then another hour. So it's like I'm in my terminal, and I'm not going to go ahead and explore the airport because I don't have time. Like,
right.
If my flight does come, then I'm not going to have time to get back.
In hindsight, you had 15 hours to explore.
Yeah, exactly. But they had these lounge chairs like beach chairs almost.
I saw that on Facebook the other day. That it's like people had like their shoes off and they were like sleeping in those chairs.
They have cots.
Yes.
Out. Yeah, that's what. And then I found a little cot. Took my shoes off. Got right in the corner of this like two glass walls put together inside of a runway, and just kind of sat there and just watched them come in.
Oh, that's so cool. Did you sleep, or you were too obsessed with watching the planes?
A little bit of both. I mean, I probably sat there and watched the planes for a good 4 or 5 hours.
Wow.
Just sitting there. So.
And that's still not even close to 15. So
yeah.
So before you knew about the Fly Rate Scholarship, what was your career goal? After you graduated high school.
It was always to be a pilot in the airlines. It's what I've wanted to do pretty much my entire life. But without the scholarship, it would have taken me a while, like a long time, because I was going into landscaping with the city of Raleigh.
Okay.
And I probably would have been there for quite some time before I had enough money to save up and start the program. But
so you were already working there, landscaping for Raleigh?
I got the job the same day I got the call for the scholarship.
That's perfect.
Aww.
Poor city of Raleigh.
Yeah, I know. Like I called him back like 4 hours later, and I was like, "Well, guys, I actually just won a full-ride scholarship to a flight school." So,
but we're making dreams come true, so you can't hate it. Cool. Well, that's awesome. I'm really glad that obviously we're going to dig into the scholarship part of it and what it means for you. But do you think your goal has changed at all in terms of what you want to do after you graduate? Now that you are here and it's happening a lot sooner than you thought?
Yeah, I mean, there's so many different fields in aviation. It's like because it's all kind of I'm being introduced to them all really. Like I think it's just for me, it's just gonna have to be, like what comes and what I like to do best. I mean, I saw a bunch of videos. I was watching videos last night on crop dusting.
Yeah,
crop dusting looks awesome. I mean, flying around like with the end of tail wheel,
50 feet off the ground.
Yeah, 50 feet off the ground doing fighter jet maneuvers.
Nice. That's awesome. obviously would encourage you to go to all of the airline and recruiter events that we have, because I think that's one of the best ways for you to figure out, number one, what the right company is for you if you do decide the airlines is the right fit. But we also are building partnerships as we go along. So now we have Plain Sense as a partnership and some other ones coming up, and those aren't airlines. So, if you want to just get your start somewhere else and then transition later or wherever you decide, I think it would be good for you to learn about those options as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, speaking for any of our viewers, by the way, we just posted a video about the best path to take after coming out of high school. And it's the most efficient route of what you should do when you come out of high school to be able to get to the airlines or whatever would require the ATP license. And part of that, especially for you, right, because you're 18, you're going to get all your certs in a matter of 5.5 months. And from there, you're going to transition into typically instructing, or if there's another, obviously outside lower hour type job that you can take. You within about 1.5 to 2 years, you'll have all your hours there, right? But the downside is you're 21 at this time, and you still have about another 2 years before you can even get your ATP certs.
Yeah.
What do you do during that time period? And this is what's really cool about starting so young, is because now you have that additional 1 to 2 years to get into something like Wheels Up or Plain Sense. And you can even find jobs that are flying jets and stuff, right? Where you can start building that experience. So when you get to the airlines, you are top of the pick when it comes to interviews and stuff.
Yeah.
So it works out really well. So
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You're going to be so well positioned for your career to literally soar.
to the sky.
So the Fly Rate Scholarship in 2023, we awarded our very first annual scholarship to a Johnston County public school graduate. Blue Line Aviation's Fly Rate Scholarship is a $100,000 flight training scholarship that is awarded to a Johnston County graduate, and in 2024 also a Polk County graduate in Florida. So the scholarship is awarded to a student who soars above and beyond and does what's right, who has a high level of personal ethics and character, and who positively contributes to the world around them as nominated by their teachers and peers, and they are approved by an impartial panel. So obviously, Joshua, you went above and beyond and did all of those things. So we have all of our applicants apply and include an essay on what the Fly Rate Scholarship would mean to them, include their transcript. They also include letters of recommendation from teachers, peers, Boy Scout leaders, Girl Scout leaders, people of that nature that can recommend you and talk about your ethics and your character. And then we also do interviews as well.
So the vetting process is pretty thorough.
It is very thorough. We want to make sure that we are positively contributing to someone who is positively contributing to the community.
Yeah, it's important. We can't claim this title because I haven't done the research to really know this, but I don't think I've ever seen an aviation-specific scholarship that's this large.
That is full ride.
Yeah, essentially it's full ride.
Besides maybe a college scholarship, maybe.
Yeah.
But I don't know because we're not a college.
Yeah, exactly.
Like a full flight training scholarship, it's huge. You're very lucky, but we're very proud of you and very excited that you're here. So congratulations again. I know I've told you a million times, but it's a huge achievement, and I know you know that. But there was a lot of work that went into it, a lot of legwork on your end to do the essays and provide all that, and then a lot of phone calls back and forth between you and me and the panel. So
Actually, what I'm really curious about is, I want you to go ahead and explain the day that we stole you from the city of Raleigh. So what was that like? I guess first off, when you submitted the application and stuff like that, what was your mindset about it and stuff like that? And then let's transition to what it was like when you got the phone call.
I wasn't 100% sure that I was going to win, obviously, but that's what I always wanted to do, and then be help me build a great foundation for my career and get me started really quick. So I put a lot of effort into it, and I got it done. There is actually a funny story.
Let's hear it.
Whenever Ashley called me and let me know that I won, I was at a lunch at a restaurant. My phone was at 1% battery.
Oh no!
So and Ashley called me and she said, "Hi Joshua, is this a good time to talk?" I think that's what you said. And
something along those lines.
And I was like, I'm at lunch and my phone's at 1%. Can I just call you back later? And she's like, yeah, of course. And I hung up, and then I was eating, and it kind of clicked. I was like, wait, did I win? I was like, okay, I need to go get a charger. So I went around asking. I was like, do you guys have a charger? Like people I don't even know. I was like, I might have won the scholarship.
I remember you saying, hey, I'm at lunch. Can I call you back later? And then it wasn't later. It was minutes. And I said, are you still at lunch? And he said, yeah, but I wanted to call you back. And then I was like, well, great. Now you get to go celebrate at lunch.
So what did that phone call sound like?
I'm curious. It was awesome. it was kind of just, I got a charger, went out to my car, plugged it in, started my car, and called her back and said, hey, Ashley, I got a charger.
I have a few minutes.
Yeah.
What'd you say? I'm curious. Do you remember?
I don't remember really. I remember being in Florida and calling him and telling him, that because it came down to 2 applicants and the panel, did a lot of interviews, and you did interviews with them, and then it was decided, I think maybe the next day or 2 days later. It was a pretty quick turnaround, I think. So they gave me the news and asked me to give him a call, and I just shared the good news. Like, I was just excited. And then I told him we could talk about the details later because he was at lunch and in his car charging his phone. But also just, it's a lot to take in at the moment that you just want a full ride to a flight school.
Yeah. So what was it like for you? So you get the phone call and everything.
And who were you with when you were at lunch? Were you with your family?
I was with my girlfriend's family.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So what was it like? So getting the phone call, being with the girlfriend's family, what was their reaction when you told them? What was your family's reaction? What was it like?
Well, honestly, I probably sat in my car for a good 10 minutes, like letting it, because I hung up, said bye, and then it was just kind of still like
sinking in.
Like hitting me. I was like, wow. Like,
Did you cry?
Maybe. That's
Hey,
He's like,
there's no shame in that because like I cried. I'm not going to exaggerate. Yesterday, I'm not even going to lie. The benefactors and I were messaging about how you did your first solo, and I didn't cry like tears, but I did tear up because it's just so cool to see you do that and have that accomplishment. Again, I know I keep alluding to it. We are going to get into his solo later, but I'm just so proud. So what about when you told your family, to go back to Andy's question?
The absolute first thing I did, I called my dad and I said, hey, Dad, and I was like, I won. And he was freaking out. And I had a call from every single person on my side of the family in the next 10 minutes congratulating me. So
did your mom cry?
I didn't tell. This actually another funny story.
Okay.
So I didn't tell my mom until I was home because she works at the school I went to.
Oh, okay.
So she came home and just told her, like blank expression. I just told her, and she was bawling, crying.
Is she how you found out about the scholarship? How did you find out about the scholarship actually?
Actually, my mom found it.
Okay, so she was the one.
Yeah. She told me about the scholarship and told me, this would be.
Yeah.
You probably want to do this.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were going to all the high schools, all the Johnston County public school high schools, and making sure that the guidance counselors and career advisors were making sure that the high school teachers knew to pass it on to anybody that would be interested. So I'm obviously really glad it got passed to you and it was shared because you're a perfect fit.
So one thing that's really big about this that people don't think about, when you think of scholarships, it's borderline like a lottery, right? You're submitting your thing and you're hoping that you can win this. What's crazy about this concept is it's so limited. This is a huge scholarship and it's limited to, like, for example, for just Johnston County Public School high school graduates. That's a very small pool that you're putting your application into, which I assume that probably crossed your mind in some way, shape, or form, that the chance of winning is so high. It doesn't even seem hopeless like a lottery would. Yeah. So I just wanted to point that out. And now we're doing it in both Johnston County and Polk County in Florida.
And like when you think about, college scholarships, right? You have people applying from all over the world, all over the nation, all over the world. And when you think about this, because we want it to stay in our community, Johnston County Public Schools in North Carolina was our first one, obviously, before we moved to Florida. And like you said, it's such a small pool, and we got a lot of great applicants, but at the same time, it's not as many as these other ones are getting. So
they're getting thousands upon thousands at this point, right?
So it's a great opportunity, and that's why we wanted to talk about the application process, because we are about to open the applications up again for the 2024 graduates. So now that we are in Winter Haven, Florida, we are also extending it to Polk County high school graduates that are graduating in 2024. So now we have 2. We're going to be giving away 2 scholarships next year, one in Polk County, Florida, and one in Johnston County, North Carolina. So the reason Andy brought that up is because if you're listening to this podcast and thinking, oh, that'll never be me, it's, if you are interested in aviation, if this is your dream, if you're even interested at all, and you want to show us how this could change your life, there's never been a more perfect time, because like Andy said, I've never seen a scholarship of this size where you can go through flight training with $0 out of pocket, essentially.
Yeah, exactly. For such a small pool of people, for such a small pool of applicants.
Yes. Let's go into the actual application process. So, and maybe you can give some tips to our viewers and listeners that are about to apply in Polk County and Johnston County, maybe about your essay or about your letters of recommendation that you got. Do you have any advice for them on any of that?
As far as the essay goes, I mean, like you said, it's not a huge pool, so. Definitely, if this is what you want to do and aviation is your dream, you need to put your heart into it, and do the best that you actually can. You absolutely want to, portray your interest in aviation, of course. If aviation is your dream, this is what you want to do. Obviously, you want to put your heart out in the essay.
What about the letters of recommendation? Who obviously I know because I spoke to your people, but who did you use for your letters of recommendation?
I used one of my teachers that I knew very well.
Okay.
He was one of my best teachers, I think. I was in Boy Scouts for a while, and I used one of my Boy Scout leaders, and I also used my neighbor.
Okay.
And
yeah, so like a wide variety of people. That's great.
You can get the whole taste of what you got to offer, pretty much. So.
Absolutely. The application window for the Fly Rate Scholarship this year is February 1st through March 31st. So what kind of things can they do to prepare while the window is open to make sure that, because it's important that their application is submitted thoroughly, because piece of advice from me, since I look at most of the applications off the bat, I noticed a lot of people didn't upload their transcripts right away. And that's really important. We want to know that you were a good student in school. So do you have any other piece of advice to be prepared before they submit their application?
Like you said, definitely make sure you submit everything that is required, of course. And I mean, really, the best thing you can do is just put a lot of time to it. I mean, it needs a lot of time. That's what you're gonna have to do when you're in the program. This program is a full-time job, basically, and you're gonna have to want it to be here. It's not gonna work out unless you want it. Make sure you dedicate a lot of time to it and get it done. I mean, that's pretty much what you want to do.
So don't wing it. Don't do it in 2 minutes. Like put your heart into it.
I mean,
right.
It's a really small pool, like you said. So I mean, your chances of winning, it's not very unlikely. I mean, if you really put a lot of effort into it, it's not a lottery.
Right.
That's what I'm saying.
Another thing to note is that this year we are introducing 2nd through 10th place winners as well. So those applicants will receive $15,000 off for the 2nd through 5th place, and then $7,500 off 6th through 10th place. So it's an even smaller pool now, because that is still a huge amount, of funds to take off of your flight training. So, put your everything into it if
Absolutely.
this is your dream. Another thing I will say is it's important to make sure that our school is the right fit for you. And that's kind of what we're looking for whenever we go through the review process with the board. Because just like you said, and I think you said it perfectly, this school is a full-time job. And, as you've learned, you have to be here every day. You have to study every day. You have to surround yourself with these like-minded people and use the resources that are given to you in order to be successful. And you're doing that.
To add to that, about this program, if you are submitting your application for the Fly Rate Scholarship and you're not familiar with Blue Line Aviation, one thing we like to highlight and be very transparent about is that you are attempting to apply to the most difficult flight school that is in this nation. We do it in 5.5 months, and it takes other schools years to do. We do it very effectively and very efficiently, but it requires you to listen and meet our standards.
As well as prepare.
The reason why is because we hold such a professional environment. We're not just teaching you how to be a pilot. We're not teaching you just to pass check rides. We're teaching you to be a professional. So when people leave here, that's a representation of the flight school and at the airlines and stuff like that as well.
So when you go put Blue Line Aviation on your resume, it's one of those things like why we're partnering with people. When they see Blue Line Aviation on people's resumes, when they apply, they're like, we're interviewing this person. Obviously you don't just get a job, but you still have to get interviewed, but it stands out because they know the quality of the pilots that we produce.
Absolutely, yeah.
But again, you have to be willing to put in the work because it is difficult. Nobody here is ever going to tell you that it's easy. No one. And you are doing that. You came in prepared with your writtens done, and you used the King schools, and you just did your first solo, and I'm sure you're studying every night still.
Yep.
How's it been so far? So let's go ahead and talk about your experience so far in the career pilot program. What does that look like? How does it look like so far for you up to the point of you doing your solo yesterday?
It's awesome. I mean, at every minute of it, it's been a dream come true, basically.
Yeah. Pretty stressful?
Sometimes it can be, but this is what I love to do. So it's not. If you like what you're doing, you're not going to work a day in your life. That's But yeah, as far as the solo went, I mean, they make sure that you're comfortable up there before you go on your solo. And if you're not comfortable, you can always say, you know, I'm not comfortable, and spend more time doing grounds or flying with an instructor or whatnot.
Who is your instructor?
Joseph Singleton.
Nice. I know you guys are so sick of me saying we're going to talk about it later. Let's talk about your solo. Walk us through, you know, you fly with the instructor first, they get out of the plane, and then you solo. So walk us through the day yesterday. You flying with Joseph and then him getting out of the plane. I was excited. I was ear to ear smile as soon as I woke up, you know, and like you were talking about previously, you know, when you first get up there, it's the most freeing thing. Like, just, you're all by yourself, you're in that plane, you made it basically.
So you got to fly in the 40, and I assume the cabin feels really empty, I assume, right? Without an instructor there?
Yeah.
That's got to be a trippy feeling.
Oh yeah, for sure, definitely. I mean, and it's also the thing, and it's you're on your own, so you got to make sure you're doing everything right. You're running the checklist right. You got to make sure you're prepared.
And you got to make sure you have the knowledge too, right?
Yeah,
it's not,
definitely.
like we've said before on this podcast, it's not like calling AAA if you have a flat tire on the side of the road. You have to figure it out, you know, and that's what we train you for, to be prepared at all times.
Absolutely.
So how was your landings?
Perfect.
What?
Yeah.
Nice.
Okay. I wasn't. So that's good.
Awesome.
That's good that you got buttered landings then. I remember how the weather was yesterday.
It was really nice.
It was really, it was
Before the
good.
afternoon, it was really nice.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Did you cry
Did
at
you-
the end? I'm all about the emotions
She's
today.
just calling out your man card.
It is okay to cry, especially when you win a $100,000 scholarship.
I think that's. I'm not really much of a crier.
Okay. But you felt emotional.
Yeah, I mean, for sure.
he's a
Did your
Man,
parents
obviously.
come to watch you?
My dad did.
Aw.
Yeah, my dad parked on the side of 70, and he got a really cool picture.
Oh, did he?
Yeah,
He
a really
parked
cool
on the
picture.
side
You're
of
gonna-
70?
You're going to have to get that picture for us and send it to us so we can put it in the podcast. That'd be
will.
really cool to see.
Absolutely.
I'm not okay. He parked on the side of 70.
So
That's so cool. Because were you landing on 2-1?
Yep.
So he literally, he was
Oh, yeah.
like right under you.
He got
That's so
he
cool.
got an awesome picture because you can see, like, it's from underneath the airplane. You can still see my face in the cockpit. So.
Yeah, I cannot wait to see that picture.
Yeah.
Cool.
So your next two solos, go ahead and explain what those next two solos are going to look like.
So it should be to Buckhorn Reservoir. So,
Okay.
And then I guess that one's just to, you know, get a feel
Right.
for the area around Johnston County, basically, and fly around Buckhorn, come back.
Yeah, the primary is to get you out of the traffic pattern, away
Yeah.
from the airport, so you can see that you can solo it back into a traffic pattern. Yeah.
Exactly.
So, how do you feel about ATC? A lot of people are nervous about talking ATC.
It is pretty. It's definitely something to get used to.
Yeah.
It takes a lot. I mean, it definitely takes a lot of, you know, practice and talking to yourself basically at home. You know, with what I do is I'll put my headset on, I'll sit down, and I'll just talk with my headset on.
Yeah.
And that helps a lot. Like when I was doing calls around in the traffic pattern.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Like and it seems basic to me now, but of course it's when you're first getting into it, you're flying the plane and you're also trying to figure out how to
to
talk,
speak that,
to talk while you're flying. So it's definitely something to get used to, but you know, you put your headset on, you just make the calls and sitting in a chair flying, make the calls with your headset on. It definitely helps. So I'd recommend doing that if that's something that you struggle with.
Yeah, one of the things that I used to do was listen to live ATC. I'd listen to that website and just listen to RDU because previously Blue Line used to be based out of RDU, and that's where when I was going through the program, that's where I trained. So I would just listen to RDU all day, and I was probably listening to more than I probably needed to at the time because it's obviously the big guys there doing a bunch of stuff. But nonetheless, it was interesting listening and trying to respond and trying to do it as fast as they do it and stuff. Yeah, for sure. ATC can definitely be overwhelming. So
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Well, that being said, you just completed your first solo, and after you're done with your next couple of solos, what's the next big milestone?
Probably the check ride, and getting ready for making sure you can button all the information together, and you can confidently go in there and get it done with both the oral portion and flying. So it's definitely something. It's a big step.
Yeah,
and there's a lot of work to be done, but I think that'll probably be my next milestone that I'll be working towards.
Yeah, and I guess what's going to end up happening is because you just finished your first solo, that means that your private check ride is most likely scheduled a week or two from this point.
Yeah.
So it's right around the corner.
Whoa.
You just did your first solo. It takes people months sometimes in other flight schools to even get to that point. So you're already accomplishing major milestones with that alone.
Yeah,
right?
of course. I mean, I
So-
remember when I first came into the program, I'd look on my schedule and I'd see I'm soloing then, like this, at the end of this month, or like seriously. And then by the time I got there, it's like, oh no, it's nothing.
You're like, I'm prepared.
Yeah, exactly.
Wait until you get past CFI. Once you get past CFI, it's so quick because all of those ratings, CFII, MEI, and commercial multi, all of those are like a week long. So
I always tell people it's like a roller coaster. You're on the uphill right now. After CFI, it's just and then you're gonna blink and you're gonna be graduating.
Yeah.
It's crazy. It happens really quickly.
So tell us what your favorite thing about being in flight school at Blue Line Aviation has been so far.
I'd say honestly, the people, the students and the instructors are very. I mean, you can talk to anyone you can have a good conversation with, and everyone is going to want to help you. And I've had plenty of people, give me advice and helping me out with things I should study and everything. I mean, if there's really unlimited resources as far as people go. I mean, everyone is willing to help you, and they're very friendly. So I'd say that's probably one of my favorite things.
That's awesome. Yeah, one of my favorite things to hear about when people graduate is hearing about the lifelong friendships that they've made.
Yeah.
And I can't wait to see the lifelong friendships that you make and hear about your experience. We'll have to have him back on the podcast when he graduates, I think, to wrap up.
We're going to want to do a post-graduation video with you anyways.
Okay.
And then also do a post-graduation podcast, which would be really great, just to talk about this version of you and that version of you. So how has been, right before we wrap all this up, how has it been balancing your time compared to when you were just out of high school, right? So comparatively, operating in high school and operating in a flight school, how much different is it?
It's definitely, I mean, like I said, it's a full-time job, and it took me some getting used to, for sure. I mean, as far as, you need to make sure you're getting enough sleep every night. So that's very important, of course, and of course, studying is important too. So you need to make sure that you can balance out studying, sleeping, I mean, exercising, of course, that's also pretty important as a pilot. Maintaining yourself in a pretty good shape. So it's definitely something that takes some getting used to. But it's once you get it, it's just every day wake up, it's the same schedule. So
especially right out of high school too. I mean, that's a huge feat. I mean, I know when I was right out of high school, I was not immediately into a schedule of working out, sleeping enough, and studying every single day, So that's another great thing, that's why I think it's really a good idea to have you back, because you're going to see how much even from when you started, I'm sure you've seen change in yourself.
I think it's honestly, it's crazy how much, every day you can tell, like I can tell from when I've started this program and to when I'm fresh out of high school, like there's definitely been a difference, not only in, my aviation knowledge, but physical and,
just in general self-improvement.
Mental too.
Mental self-improvement. The work ethic and all sorts of things. Just you can tell that every day has a really good impact on your all-around character and desire to learn.
Cool.
Yeah, that's one of the benefits I always talk about when it comes to people that have which we've made videos about this, addressing this, people that think going to a flight school that's this fast isn't necessarily safe because you're not absorbing the knowledge or anything like that. I don't think people understand. And the only thing I can compare this to, besides the fact I went through the program, is service members can represent on this one. So straight out of high school, I went to basic training. It was like I graduated in May, and in June I was in basic. And in such a pressuring environment, you learn a lot in a very short time period. And it sticks with you. Here I am. It's been a while since I've flown. And at this point, it's crazy. I look at an IFR approach plate and can still understand what's going on it and stuff like that. And I can still understand the basic procedures and sit down with instructors and have conversations about flight. And it's because it was so pressuring in the beginning. It's just there. It's ingrained. So that's another element I think that is beneficial of our program.
Yeah.
So.
I think something that you brought up earlier is all the people that are helpful. And I think what we'll do with the 2024 recipients of the scholarship is we'll probably have you mentor them, because, they will be fresh out of high school. And you have been in that situation, and now what it takes and how to be prepared and how to come in and make sure that you are ready to go on day one. Yeah. And so we'll probably, have you do a little, mentoring of them to help them come in and be the best that they can be.
I think that's a great idea. That is a great idea, I think.
If we time it right, if we time this right,
be a CFI.
You could be their instructor.
Well, one of them, because the other one's going to be in Polk County. But
correct, yeah.
But
one of them.
Yeah, that would be cool.
That would be interesting. So I guess to just wrap up the rest of this podcast, is we kind of understand what your goals are at this point, and we'll readdress this question again once you graduate. What are your goals with aviation now at this point?
Still, I mean, it's just I've always wanted to be in the airlines. We have a long way to go. So every day, my goal is to just learn as much as I can, get as familiar as I can with the airplane, and just keep working hard to get towards that goal. So
Yeah. Do you have a dream airline? It's okay if not. Just, some people are like, I got to go to Delta. I got to go to Southwest.
I heard Alaska's fun.
Yikes.
No, not really. I don't think I have
Okay.
a specific airline.
What
I
about
wanna
plane?
fly.
Do you have like a plane that is your favorite? Like Boeing, Airbus?
I like the A320. So
Oh my gosh, me too.
Yeah, they keep their emergency exit doors.
yeah.
I'm the same way. I'm obsessed with them. I think they're so sleek. They're so modern. The A320s, they're just, even as a passenger, I mean, if I see that I'm flying A3, I'm like excited. Like I don't care where I sit in an A320. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
when you get on like a Boeing, you're like, oh, I wish I was in first class because like they just all feel, you know what I mean?
I mean, I guess.
And then, I don't
it
know,
depends on
it's-
which, because I've been on a 737 MAX and like that was, like it was fine.
So maybe I'm thinking, okay, so I guess I do most of the time fly Delta, and what do they have? 737 700s, I think.
Oh, I'm not sure. Yeah.
I don't know either, sorry. But all I know is I prefer when it's an A320.
Yeah, low key, you want to buy an A320.
Yeah, low key,
That'd be
that's
cool.
my dream plane.
No big deal. One of the things that I think I've learned when I was going through the program was I didn't have a decision made prior to coming into the program. I had no idea what direction I wanted to go.
Obviously, he chose marketing.
Yeah, clearly. So I went to completely.
So that's an option too.
But what's interesting is I had learned that people shouldn't really make a decision until they start
Yeah.
getting into the latter portion of their training.
Exactly.
Maybe even wait until the middle of your CFI training, right? You really don't need to choose. The aviation industry fluctuates so much that it's just best to wait and choose.
Yeah.
And,
Right, and
that being said, like when I was going to go through the program, corporate was the one thing that I wanted to do. So the idea of flying personal jets to me sounded more fun than doing airlines and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
And that's one thing that's kind of been standing out to me recently is
corporate?
Yeah, exactly.
yeah,
And that's what I mean when I say that I'm not really too. I mean, obviously, flying the airlines is my dream, but as these new things get introduced to me, there might be something that it's like, hey, maybe I might like this a little bit more. So.
exactly. Yeah.
corporate sounds so fun. I think
Yeah.
it would be because you control your own customer service essentially, right? Because you're taking care of the passengers and everything. You get to fly into not only big airports but smaller airports, and it's really cool. And you get to come home almost all the time.
Exactly.
Right? You're very
Yeah.
rarely you always
Yeah.
gone, so it works out. That being said, we want to go ahead and congratulate you again for getting the Flyrate Scholarship. We look forward towards you mentoring the new scholarship winners for 2024. Once again, the application window is from February 1st to March 31st.
And you can apply here.
Yep, or it'll there. Once again,
Somewhere.
you're an adult, you can find it. And hopefully, you have to be an adult, so that works out. So-
Or you don't have to be an adult yet. You just have to be an adult by July 1st, 2024.
Yep.
The other thing to note is I do know it's disappointing, but you do have to be a 2024 high school graduate from either a Johnston County public school in North Carolina or a Polk County public school in Florida. And, maybe one day we will be able to expand it to the entire nation, but right now we are focusing on the communities where our 2 locations are. So, keep an eye out for future scholarships, but for right now you do have to be a 2024 graduate. Just want to make sure that everybody understands.
And if you have any questions, once again, the link that's in the description will link you to the submission form and everything, but there'll also be a link for you to go to our Flyrate Scholarship page. And you can talk to one of our training advisors and they can fill you in more if you have any questions. But other than that, let's go ahead and wrap up the podcast. This is episode 5. Skies are clear, comms are closed.
See ya.
See ya.